Shamla, can you hear us? Rishu, Varun, we'll just wait for Shamla to join. Really sorry about this. And I think then we'll start.
No issues, no issues.
That's fine.
Thank you. Okay, then we're waiting. Sure. Okay, thank you so much. So I think Shamla is having some connectivity issues, and she's trying to join. So I think good morning all, and thank you for the audience. Uh, so many webinars have happened, and they've held explaining and elaborating the impacts of pandemic across industry, loss of livelihood. So definitely the way we work has changed radically. So I think so actually, this webinar is not to discuss that. This webinar is to discuss in terms of, those baby steps in terms of solutions we can take, the how the jobs will be created, what are the skills required? Are there really skills there? So I think that's the discussion. And so I think if we see the delivery and logistics sector is poised to grow around 18% CAGR, and how are we going to turn this growth story into an opportunity for jobs? Are we really ready in terms of the rapid growth we are seeing? Is it complementing skills? So I think that's also the point. And I think we are actually fortunate to have three industry experts to have a dialogue on right skills and right jobs. So this actually topic holds a great importance in the current economic scenario. So introducing the panel for today, uh, we have with us Rishu Garg. Hi Rishu, morning.
Hi, Dheeraj.
So Rishu is currently donning the hat for CHRO for Revigo, the fastest growing logistics and technology company. She comes with 15 years of experience in HR domain. Also, she's a professional coach and an avid reader. We also have Varun with us, Varun Gupta. He's from the New Age organization, which is Warehouse Now. And Varun happens to be ex-load chair. He comes with a very rich experience in logistics and warehouse management. And he's in his present role, he's anchoring the supply side of warehouse on a pan-India level. So Rishu and Varun, a very, very warm welcome.
Thank you, Dheeraj.
Yeah. So Varun, I would like to, start with you in terms of, what are your thoughts? Do you think, the way the logistics sector is growing up, we have the skills, are the skills complementing the rapid growth?
Yeah, so Dheeraj, I think the skills are complementing, but somewhere many industries are facing a lot of issues as well at the same time. Like when you talk about logistics sector, so I mean each and everything that we have seen in this pandemic being affected, but the logistics chain, the supply chain has been the heart, you know, in providing each and every individual, the be it the e-commerce sector, be it the FMCG sector, anything. So the supply chain industry has supported each one of us in running our daily livelihoods. So I think it becomes really crucial to identify the talent and whether that talent is right, be it in logistics when we talk. So there are different verticals, right? There is PTL, there is FTL, there is reefer. So a person coming from a PTL background might not be efficient in a FTL service
Yeah,
and vice versa. So
yeah,
I think as an industrial expert, as an person who is hiring or as a person who wants to indulge, in associating with new partners, it becomes really crucial to identify the person you are engaging with,
yeah.
whether that person would be able to fulfill your demand, whether he would be or she would be able to add up to your business, whether they would be able to expand your business. So I think it's really important. So when it comes to talent acquisition, I think it is really crucial, and we really need to have some checkpoints, when we are engaging and when we are onboarding new partners or people in this sector.
Great, great. And Rishu, you feel the same in terms of, do you think the skill side is being complemented by the rapid growth what the industry has seen in logistics in the last 6, 7 years?
Yes, absolutely. So, to give you a context, while the pandemic has had different impacts on different industries, for logistics, it has just brought the entire industry to the forefront, with as compared to being seen as a support industry, we became essential services. And with the exponential growth in e-commerce, the availability of logistics everywhere, both from the seller perspective and the buyer perspective, became very, very important.
Hmm.
So in terms of skills, if I were to think about what is it that the logistics industry needs and what is it that people have to offer. One is that logistics today has an absolutely widespread of job opportunities, right?
Yeah.
From as Varun mentioned, from warehouse operations to supply and demand planning, to the regular support, the support function roles, to a lot of roles which are now where we need a lot very high technology skills.
Hmm.
The amount of goods and services, the amount of movement that we are looking at in a place like India, it is absolutely not possible to do that without technology.
Sure.
So for new age companies like ours, technology and tech skills become of very high importance, right? So there are a widespread in terms of roles, opportunities available in the industry. In terms of skills, I think the pace at which the industry has grown, I don't think that ready availability of trainings or skills for talent who's coming into the industry, especially fresh talent. So there are people who may have been working in the industry for some time, so they have a fair bit of competence, right? And they have fair bit of understanding. But in terms of fresh talent, and especially when I mentioned availability of talent in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. I don't know if today logistics and warehousing, supply and demand planning is a subject that is a part of all the knowledge sessions and trainings that are happening across the country.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of effort therefore the industry is making. For example, for all our entry level talent, we have easily 14-day programs, which kind of take them from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, and also give them an opportunity to not only learn what needs to be done, but give them a safe environment of practicing what needs to be done. So we need that much investment of time to ensure that they come up to a skill level, so that they can actually start working in live operations. So that is something that I feel the entire industry has started doing on their own. Yes, when we hire, especially when we are talking about people who are fresh from campus, we definitely look for learnability. This is very, very dynamic industry. There's lots that changes. So learnability and adaptability and problem solving is what I think I would be looking at in terms of top 3 skills if I was to hire freshers. Yeah. When we are talking about people who've been working in the industry, there is, there's a lot of impetus, of course, not only about knowing the market and knowing knowing how logistics work, and also on detail orientation. So what have you learned so far and how will you apply it? And, how is it that you will be able to use that to develop technology so that you're able to do this at scale.
Sure.
These are some top of the mind things that we have when we are looking for talent for this industry.
No, I think so. The 2 points what I'm taking is, someone has to be high on curiosity and someone has to be high on learnability. And how open, you feel the logistic industry is to, hire folks around from out of industry. Do you think that is a prerequisite, or there is an element of flexibility which is coming in over there?
No, I don't think that is something that we are not open to. I think the only, as I said, that the pandemic has created a great divide between different types of sectors. So logistics being the industry that it is, for 90% of my roles, people have to work on site and people have to work on shifts, right? So while there are people who may have been working from home since March 2020, we did not stop even for one day. Right. So, there is an inherent, requirement for roles in the logistics industry. And I feel a lot of people who are comfortable, therefore, in stepping out, who are comfortable in who understand the local areas and the local markets, they are a good fit for the industry. So I don't think there is any issue in terms of hiring from different sectors.
Sure.
But as I said, there is an amount of time, there is an amount of product training, there's an amount of ops training that we need to do at our end to ensure that they come up to speed and they are able to perform well in the job that they've been allocated to.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I think that was very insightful. So Varun, given that warehouse is a young organization and you're working with a lot of e-commerce firms to set up warehouses all across the country. So how do you take what are the various measures you adopt in terms of
so adding on to the last point that you and Rishu were discussing, right, being open up to hire people from different sectors, I think that is a good point to take up, because when people are working in different sectors, they are having different skill sets, right? a logistic person coming from a logistic industry will be having a logistics perspective skill set. But if you take up, be it say IT person, right? So he might be having a different skill set. He might be having a different tactics to, overcome obstacles or, problem solving skills. But yes, given the training and onboarding process, I think he will be open to, learn the logistic skill set as well. So I think this, I personally feel this is really important, and I think it should be focused. Like, we should not restrict ourselves just to, acquire people who are from the SCM background. Now, coming on to your question, so if I give you an example, like I have closely worked with Mintra.
Yeah.
So we are running around 80,000 square feet of warehouse in Bangalore. And during each sale period, all these EORS sale period, there is a proper 15, as Rishu mentioned, 15 to 20 days of training period. And the prerequisite for those blue collar people is that they should have a background in the e-commerce sector. Because
Yeah.
again, when we are differentiating between people applying for, white collar jobs and people applying for blue collar jobs, I think the analytical skills and the openness towards, learning new skills vary a lot. Like you and me, we are open to learn new skills, but a person who is earning just to survive, I think
Yeah.
he won't be able to, learn that much skills
Sure.
in 15 days or 20 days. And when we are talking about e-commerce operations, so that is a really crucial part. Like even one process mismatch or one thing, you miss out, and it creates a lot of
Sure.
hassle
Yeah.
in the entire industry. So this practice is being followed, like 5 days or 7 days, presentations and all those knowledge transfer happens. Then they are taken on ground. So the device handling, the shipment handling, the reading, the shipments and all. So entire training process is there. And after that, the supervisors, the heads, they decide like how these people are performing and whether they, we need to onboard them or not. So I think
Hmm.
this is really crucial part.
Okay. No, I think the common point which is coming is the on-job training. In terms of, the on-job training holds a very, very important part. I think also, always I'm curious that logistics sector and delivery sector is one wherein you require like hundreds of partners and solutions and sole partners. So how does, and it works beautifully in terms of, how everyone is working together. So how does the early trust creation happens, given there are hundreds of partners each firm has?
Yeah. So this is this is a really important point, right? When like during this pandemic, for example, I am associated with five of my transportation vendors,
Yeah.
and three of them are out of drivers, like because of natural reasons. But I have to meet the demand. I have to, onboard new partners. So given that small amount of time, how to develop that trust, that I can trust them with my clients' shipments and all. So what I personally have started doing is, like many of us, right, when we are in talks with newer clients, they ask us to give referrals,
Yeah.
right? If I am going to acquire, or if I'm going to associate with a new FMCG brand, so that brand would ask me if I can get some referrals of existing FMCG brands that I'm working with,
Yeah.
or e-commerce brand, they'll ask for referrals. So I think, why cannot we do this while onboarding new vendors, right? We can ask those vendors, we can ask those partners. For example, if you are working with five clients, can you provide me your last 3 months SLA history?
Yeah.
Can you provide me some email documentation from the people you are working with? Because I have closely seen a lot of fake people out there who are just trying to, do frauds with you and all. So it becomes really crucial
Yeah.
for us. So I think this referral thing should not be restricted just for client onboarding. I think the same can be followed while onboarding new vendors as well.
Yeah. So in fact, thanks so much, Varun. So Rishu, in fact, I would like to know, I think, in fact, our lives were taken care by all the delivery staff, and huge gratitude, the way they work. I think they are very motivated always. And what actually intrigues me is which means there is a lot of strong reward and recognition program, at a back end which really innovates. So how do in Revigo you take care of that?
Yes, absolutely. So there are two things, Dheeraj, that we do. One is, of course, to add to Arun's point, there is a strong impetus that is laid on referrals. So do you understand the industry? Do you understand the dynamism and the requirements and expectations? So when there is somebody who's coming through a referral, one can be rest assured that they have kind of done their due diligence while coming to the industry. Then the second point, agree again with Varun, that when we are doing this at this scale, it is important to have scorecards, whether it is for employees, whether it is for partners. And those scorecards give us early signs of who's doing well, who needs improvement, what aspect needs improvement, and if needed, there are times when I'll come to the recognition piece, but if needed, there are times when we go back to the drawing board and we go back to reskilling, where we feel that the scorecard is not reflecting the level of score we would expect this role or this partner to be at. Then reward and recognition, absolutely very, very important. There is, one of the Revigo leadership principles is boundless energy. And when we hire people, this is one of the principles we absolutely check on. What is their source of energy? What keeps them going? And there are people. These are people who may be in small locations. They could be working in groups of 2 and 3. So they may not have an HR there. They may not have a direct manager working with them at that location. So how do they have a source of energy which kind of motivates them to do this every day, right? Because we are, as you rightly pointed out, we are moving not only food and essential goods, but also at times medical equipment. So there is and pharma products which become very, very crucial.
Absolutely.
So there is the source of boundless energy that we absolutely check on. We end up hiring a lot of people who are sportsmen, very, very interested in sports, people who are very driven on high personal standards. So that is something that I've noticed happens. Then in terms of recognition, there is absolutely a daily and monthly format that happens. So there is daily recognition that happens on ground. Monthly across India, we have something called Culture Connects, where everyone comes together. We talk about achievements for last month and targets for the next month, so that all of us are on the same page. When we do this together in the first week, we know that the entire organization is moving in one direction. Everyone understands the interdependencies. So how is my role adding value? What do I need to do? And also, this is also a great time to celebrate what has happened well last time. So yes, recognition is absolutely important. There's a lot of gratitude that is expressed during these sessions, and it also becomes a talking point for people to share their stories on how did they do what they did to inspire others.
No, I think it's a very interesting point. You made the sense of purpose. One can really feel that customer centricity when something is happening, or a delivery is taking place, or a person ensures that he takes like 2-3 attempts that the goods are delivered on time. So I think also, Varun, I would like to understand, your thoughts. So given that everything is as on yesterday in the logistics and delivery industry, so I think capacity buildup is the biggest issue in terms of, augmentation, building up. And what do you think are the challenges and possible solutions you think industry should adopt in terms of capacity building?
Yeah, so I think it is a really big challenge these days, right? Seeing the pandemic and all affecting your existing partners, like existing clients, business going down and all. So how do you plan on increasing the network or building new relations? So again, I think it is really important to study your industry, like what are the new people, who are the new people that are coming up. So I myself have practiced this. I read a lot of articles, be it your story articles and everything. So these people tell us like who are the new players emerging in the industry, who are the new players relevant to your industry, and who might be seeking the support.
Sure.
So to give you an example, we are working with a lot of startups as well. So as I mentioned earlier, like we help a lot of FMCG startups building last mile delivery hubs in our existing warehouses. So we have our warehouses spread across the country, right? Be it big warehouses or small dark stores, and we offer these people to set up small hubs in our existing warehouses to increase their network. So I think it's kind of a symbiotic relationship that we are building here. So by this way, I think I am able to help a lot of people, and in return, they are also able to help me a lot. So, and then coming on to your big companies, big players already existing in the industry. So every now and then, I have this, good informal connect, you can say, in which way these people are able to open up with me, in which area they are focusing to expand, or which area is becoming a painful area for them. So these are the two very important questions that I always put up to each and every connection of mine. Where can we support you, or what is that part that your SLA is breaching, or your TAT has been increased, maybe something like that. So I think with these two different ideologies, I think I have been able to add up to a lot of people in our industry.
Sure. So just so Shamla is unable to join.
Okay.
There's some network issues, so I think we'll carry on. Uh, so Rishu, top 2-3 issues in terms of capacity buildup which you feel our industry is yet to find a solution, and which acts as a sort of a quasi barrier.
So not issues, but if I can tell you top 2-3 steps that we are able
Sure.
to do. Of course, we're not 100% there always. So one of the first things that we when we think about capacity build up, and right now looking at the upcoming festive season, that is something that all of us are working on.
Yeah.
Is to understand how much of this would be a permanent demand, and how much of this would be a seasonal demand, right? So there is some part of it which we will solve through a permanent workforce from the workforce perspective, and some part of it in India now, seasonal workforce or gig workforces is an option that is coming up in a big way. How much is it that we can solve through that? So that is point number one. Number two is the exact timing, right? A lot of times, and COVID has taught us that we are caught unaware. While we feel that this is behind us, and now the markets are picking up, time to build capacity, and then another wave kind of hits you. So we've thought about how do we go through this entire cycle of skilling, that 14 days of skilling, and then having people on board, and to ensure that we have the right capacity at the right time. That is something that we are trying to solve again through having part of the skill building done even before joining, and ensuring that offers are rolled out just in time.
Yeah.
right? And the third bit of capacity building is long-term capacity building, right? So the way the industry is going, we know that a lot of the industry is still unorganized, right? And as more and more technology is getting used, as companies like us are making advent into headway into the industry, there is absolutely in that sense unlimited capacity that we need to build for in the coming years. So there's long-term capacity building on scale. So which are these roles which I need to start building today, which will help me let's say 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So there is a long-term capacity building that happens, especially in the technology team, who are building products for the future, who are building solutions for the future. So these are the three areas we're looking at, and we are not 100% accurate in our planning and in our forecasting. But with past experience and lessons, we are able to try and ensure that we have the right manpower at the right time.
Sure. So,
Yeah, so Dheeraj, I would like to add one point here. I think as Ishu is saying, building capacity for the long-term projects. So I think acquisition and retaining the existing manpower go hand in hand. I mean, whomsoever you have onboarded for, say, in past 5 months, and your next 5 months, you have to retain them. So I think for that, having a good working environment, in your office or be it in your warehouses, that is really important.
sure.
And I think that is being followed by a lot many e-commerce companies, wherein they are incentivizing based on a daily performance. So that is really important. I mean, retaining your existing manpower and especially skilled manpower,
Yeah.
retaining them is really important.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Great. So, Rishabh, in fact, you just spoke about the festive peak, and I think these days the festive peak starts, from the June month in terms of, the prep and the build up, and it goes from July to October end. Any thoughts how to, replace or redeploy, those junior folks into those between a October to a January or February? What industry can do to redeploy them?
So I didn't get your question. Why redeploy in the sense?
So in terms of, in that period wherein from October to January, when there is a less requirement, any thoughts, how to place them in various opportunities and redeploy them?
So the good thing about the logistics industry is that in that sense we have a natural attrition which is higher than the other industry. So once the peak is over, the right manpower is kind of taken care through natural attrition. Then the focus, as Varun said, is on retaining the right set of people, ensuring that you are again focusing a lot on skill building for the future. But yes, in June and July and till mid-August, there's a lot of focus on hiring and acquisition.
Yeah.
Because you're planning for the peak. But what I've seen is after the peak season, there is natural attrition that happens.
Yeah.
And I think what happens there is, if I not really redeployment, a lot of these people, once they understand the industry, they are absolutely employable in a lot of
Yeah.
other lot of other functions, a lot of other roles. So somebody who understands the entire cycle, as Varun mentioned, PTL, FTL, last mile, middle mile, and the first mile. They also get a hang of what do they want to do in the long term. So some of these people I've seen, are very keen to go on the sales side from the operation side. So they They become our fronts for the retail market, especially.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people, become partners themselves. So they become either business partners or retail partners. So there is very, very high employability and skills. E-commerce is a natural, a natural transition for many of them. So a lot of people start with warehouse and logistics operations and then go to e-commerce. So I don't think redeployment is a challenge at all. I think between e-commerce and logistics, there's enough demand. In fact, there's always a scarcity. If I were to say that.
Yeah. So Rishu, also given the tech-enabled logistics is actually what is the future, and we see it in all areas of logistics. And Revigo is a great example of same. So how do we make logistics reach to tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 locations in terms of from a technology standpoint?
See, in terms of technology standpoint, of course, logistics is now present everywhere. In terms of building the technology, thanks to the pandemic, actually, that is one skill that great software engineers is something
projects were preponed in terms of technology. What was supposed to happen in 2024, we witnessed in 2020 and 21.
Yeah, and these are thanks to COVID. This is one, the 10% of the workforce that I was saying can work from anywhere. This is that part of our workforce who can absolutely work from anywhere. And most of our software engineers are people who are themselves users of logistics and e-commerce in a big way. So they actually are today spread across the country. They're working from all across, from small cities to big cities. They understand the challenges the industry is facing, and in that sense there is very deep understanding of the need for technology in order to ensure that the kind of logistics network that is available in the urban India is replicated everywhere, right? And so there is a deep understanding, there is a deep deep sense of purpose there, and that is something that I think will happen very, very soon. So e-commerce, for example, because of the pandemic, now people are the sellers are across India. There are small time sellers. There are people who are kind of doing very, very niche products from home, and the demand for their products is across the country. So how do we connect all of them? That is a thought that as an industry that we always have. How do we connect all of them? How do we ensure that our cycle times from picking up something from one place and ensuring it is delivered to the other is the least possible? And that's something that our technology team continuously works upon. And I think if not, the pandemic has just helped in expediting the entire process of ensuring that we use technology well in this sector.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Vishu. So Varun, what I've been given to understand from a lot of e-commerce players, that mostly the warehouses are away from the main city, they're in the outskirts, and also I think attracting talent becomes a bit of an issue. So anything innovative, what you feel industry should do, or what you're doing in warehouse? Is it a reverse migration? Is it a housing facility for these people? To ensure that the seat is filled and you have talent in your warehouses.
Yeah. So, the major big production hubs of like are basically located on the outskirts of the city. But again, there are dark stores and all, or last mile hubs, which are also there in the the heart of the cities as well. Now, coming on to this manpower thing, as we saw, right? I mean, the biggest issue in pandemic was the transportation for these migrants. I mean, we all have that image of, Delhi bus stand where all those migrant workers are, rushing back to their hometowns. So this shows that many of the, northeast people, or people from Bihar, they are just, going all over the country to work. So I think, uh, as I mentioned, right, having a good working environment in your warehouses, incentivizing the performance, and maybe giving a temporary accommodation,
Yeah.
right, would definitely attract a lot of people. I mean, see, for a solution, right, we should understand what the problem is. For from a migrant's perspective, if I am leaving my hometown in Assam and I'm traveling to Bangalore, do I have the money to travel to Bangalore? Point one. Do I have the money to survive in Bangalore? ऐसा नहीं है कि I just reach to Bangalore and I get the job. Do I have the money to survive in Bangalore? So I think we ourselves in many of our warehouses have collaborated with a lot of manpower agency, and we have paid for their entire travel, food, and accommodation. Because at the end, I am sitting in my office, you are sitting at your home, ordering the products, but it is these people who are processing your orders in the warehouses.
Yeah.
So I think these people definitely deserve all the perks and maximum of the perks that we can offer them. So this is, definitely, acknowledging them, I feel, is really important. That you just one word from a supervisor that you did a good job will make that person smile for the entire day, or maybe motivate him. So continuous motivation is really important. So we have printed a lot of posters with quotes and all, and pasted in our warehouses, which keeps them motivating. We, during the sale period, when there is a lot of pressure on those people to process the shipments at an early pace, faster pace. So we make these announcements every now and then in the warehouses with the public addressal system. We play songs, very uh, Bollywood songs, or maybe Assam songs or something. So basically, just to motivate them to
Yeah.
make a good environment. And
Mm.
at the end of the day, when they are going back from the warehouse, they should be satisfied that, okay, tomorrow again I'll come and I'll work hard and maybe I'll earn something.
Mm.
So it's really important to make them feel motivated at all the time.
Great. My last question, to Rishu, your thoughts. Definitely, pandemic has been impetus from that change of a consumer behavior from a brick and mortar to actually a online and be a convenience, at your uh, doors doorstep. And given now the markets are open, the malls are open, do you see the trend getting continued to a certain extent, or you see again it dropping it?
I think from the logistics standpoint, I feel the industry will just grow exponentially. It will just continue to grow, whether it is uh, whether we're delivering finally through malls or directly to the consumer. In both the areas, uh, you know, till the buyers and sellers are spread out. I don't think that will have. Um, it'll just have a positive impact on the industry. So from that sense, uh, you know, I don't think there is an impact on the industry. In terms of adding to what Varun said on the what are we doing differently to attract manpower. So one is of course the basics that he mentioned. We're also ensuring that we have the right mix for local and migrant talent. So, and for that, we are tapping with, we're tapping into the National Skill Development Corporation and their network to ensure that we have tie-up with, local universities, local, colleges, through which we can get, manpower. We hire a lot of people as apprentices. So, it works well for them. And for us, we are we are providing a skilling opportunity to them, and we have ready local manpower available. Migrant manpower is very, very important. These are people who usually set up, accommodation or stay near our hubs. So they are the ones who, kind of support when the regular manpower is not available. So, they are away from their families a lot of times and willing to stretch. So, basics, as Varun mentioned, of accommodation, food, etc., become very, very important at that times. So I think that balance of having local and migrant manpower available is really important. And the NSDC is really helping us a lot in hiring our entry level talent.
I think I'm getting a message from my colleague that clock is ticking. So any concluding remarks, Varun, before we leave?
So I just went through an article, right, wherein there was some differences or some additions that basically a skilled manpower set would add up to your business. So I just got to know that there are just around 4.69% of skilled manpower in India from in the entire workforce. And it varies with China having 24%, US having 52% maximum, South Korea has 96% of skilled manpower. So, but still, I think how important a skilled manpower is in any business is that they maximize your productivity, right? They maximize your productivity, then they have really good problem solving abilities. I mean, there might be many scenarios wherein we might not have to jump on the floor and the problem has already been solved. So that comes with experience, that comes with the skill set that person has, how to tackle with different problems. Then adding up to your business, I think meeting the SLAs and not breaching the SLAs saves a lot of money for the entrepreneur. So saving money is another thing that a skilled manpower, directly or indirectly, will definitely add up to your business. So I think these are few points which helps a business save and expand at the same time. So I think it is really important to make an unskilled labor into a skilled one, because as Vishu mentioned, in long term, he or she is gonna definitely help you out.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very interesting point into that concept that grow old with us, join
Yes,
a certain skill, and you are getting upgraded every month, every quarter, every year.
exactly.
Great,
If
great.
you are adding something to my organization, what are you taking from my organization is equally important.
Yes. Rishu, any concluding points before we wrap up?
I, a lot of people, a lot of people kind of ask when we go to campuses and we go to meet fresh talent on, what courses should I do, or what skills do you feel, will help me in the long run. So as Varun mentioned, problem solving and for me detail orientation is something that is gonna always be very, very important in this industry. So if there are any students who are here listening, or any professionals who want to think about a long-term career in the industry, I would feel courses on data analysis, any courses which help them understanding supply and demand planning, network planning. These are courses that I would look for, if I was hiring a particular person. So these are courses that kind of help you sharpen those problem solving skills, help you deep dive, go into details of the problem. So these would be the top 2-3 courses that I would recommend to talent who's coming into the industry.
Sure. So thank you so much. I think it was a great, insightful dialogue, and I think that's what we are trying to do in SAHI Samvaad, wherein get the industry experts and have their view, so that the larger audience can get a deeper perspective. Thank you so much again, Rishu, for taking out the time and thank you so much, Varun. Thanks. So we conclude this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.